Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. A new book. Now, one of the nice things about this book is it's not strictly your normal formatted book. It is a book with 150 reusable stickers. It's got its own design board, which is double-sided, so you can do it either on the graph pages or on a 3D visual side. And what you do with this book is you design your garden. Now, one of the nice things about this book is that it takes you through the design or redesign of your garden step by step. Now, in this, there is a lot of good plant material which is standard. In other words, you're going to find when you go out to the garden center these plants, and that's always good. You're not looking for something weird and exotic or hard and difficult. These are going to form the basics of your mixed border, and that's exactly what you're going to do. So once you've got this book, and it is an excellent book, it needs to be read. Now, one of the reasons it needs to be read is what it does is it covers certain aspects of design briefly, succinctly, and very much to the point, okay? So you're going to cover your harmony and your contrast. You're going to do color. And color, of course, is always interesting. But it's going to be such that it's going to make your color more effective because it goes into analogous colors as well as complementary colors. And so you've got your color wheels, and it explains that and what your colors you're going to put together in combination. Now, whether you're doing this in a container, whether you're going to do it in the garden, which is part of your mixed border, or even in hanging baskets, this color wheel and this use of color is important. It does cover the psychology of color. It colors hues and tints and shades and tones of color. So that's good. It covers texture, and that's something that a lot of people don't do. Leaf shine is also an important thing. If something's got a shinier leaf or a good contrast leaf, or it's a shape or a size, etc., then you need to address it in your components of your garden. So overall shape of the plant is also important as well. Yes, you're going to do the heights, and you're going to do the textures and the shapes, okay? But you're also going to follow the golden rule. And I'm not going to try and explain the whole golden rule to you, but let's put it this way. It means that you're sizing your plant material so that it contrasts well with each other. So in other words, basically, you've got 3 plants together, or 2 plants together. It's going to give you the sizes to match the different sizes of plants. The easiest and shortest way of telling you got to read those pages for certain. You can go and add focal points to your garden, and it does that one very briefly because there are so many ways of adding a focal point. It deals with sun and shade, which is always good. But then it deals with plants that give you all season color and interest. So that's good. Then you get to arrange all of those. And you get to take and use your accent plants in there. It starts to cover them, and you can start putting them together now that you've got an understanding of all of that before you actually get out into the garden. So you're going to do your prep. But then it goes through and it gives you the full descriptions and what the benefits are of each of those original plant stickers. So you've got the 150 plants that you probably are going to find in every one of your garden centers. You're going to be able to go through, put them together, understand which one is going to do what, and their hardiness zones, the amount of light, the blooming times, the heights, the textures. It's all covered plant by plant by plant. So what you're doing is you're then going to go and take the stickers and put them together and actually design certain amounts of plants and space in your garden. The stickers are all sized to the size of the plant, which helps. So that you're putting them together, you're not going to put a big one in front of a tall one because you won't see it, right? And that's part of the golden rule. See, I told you that golden rule is going to come in handy. So whether you're doing something as common as coneflowers, cosmea, or you're doing turtle heads, etc., they're going to be able to tell you where you're going to be able to put these into the garden. And with the hardiness zones, you know which they're going to be reliable or dependable. Improve the soil always. And then go and actually do this. Now, if you leave spaces in between these groupings that you're working on, then you're going to be able to do something else with those spaces. And those spaces are important. And I want you to actually design it so there are spaces in between, particularly towards the front of the border. And the reason I'm saying that is that you're going to take another book and you're going to step up your design. And you're going to go and improve it and really a little higher end than this one. So Story Publishing has put out the book, the Design Your Garden Step-by-Step Guide, with the 150 reusable stickers, with the whole thing all laid out. And you're going to start with that. And you're going to work your way through the entire border or area that you're working on. And the areas that have been left in little spaces is going to determine what you're going to do with our next book. The Flower-Powered Garden by Andy Vernon is the next book that you want to take a look at after you've done your design for your garden toolkit. You worked your way through. This one is the next one that you will use to upgrade your garden. It's going to cover all the same areas of design and color and tints and shade and texture, etc. But it's also going to put together combinations for you. This book is published by Timber Press. It's by Andy Vernon, and it is an excellent book because it does all of that. So you're going to be able to go and put in different types of collections to give you color that you desire for it. It also gives you a whole floripedia of plants so that you can actually see what the plant is going to do. And it also gives you examples of combinations and plants that by color will actually work well together. So when you're going to be doing those extra spaces, these are going to go in there. So it's going to give you plant care, cultivation, how to renovate the beds, where you're going to put them to make sure that the soils and everything are great. And it is a superior book. The color photographs are going to be just incredible. And it's important because those colors are what you're going to determine what you're going to put together. Now, this book does not only for the garden, but it does for containers. It does it for hanging baskets. And you can combine them all. Now, what it does, it also goes, and when it does its combinations, it gives them a name. And so that when you're looking down the list of combinations and what they've called them, it's kind of cool. But it also has usually an indication of color. So we've got one called chocolate limes. So guess what color they are? How about Mexicolor? Budgies is going to really get you. Okay, I tell you now. And same thing with Frou Frou. Okay, not Little Madame Frou Frou. Frou Frou. Seaside Chic. Black Cherry. Strawberries and Cream. Licorice All Sorts. And these are combination of plants, not food. And Royal Velvet. Apple Blossom. Candy Floss Can. Sherbet Spring into Summer. And Bright Eyes. And these combinations are all covered in the book. They're given examples. And it'll really step up your garden as well. I really, really, really like, believe it or not, you're not gonna believe this one, but I really like the purple section and the hot pink section. But black cherry, I like black cherry ice cream. Well, the black cherry in this section got me too. So don't go and think, oh gee, I wouldn't like that. Take a look at the pictures before you make up your mind. Because you can do a section that goes well with those plants, and then another section of your garden that you've designed, and in another space put another set of colors, because they are broken apart by these other plants that you've got in your design. So, this book is superior. It is by Andy Vernon, and it is an excellent book. It's published by Timber Press. And I will say this, these two books will allow you to redesign your garden, make it incredibly beautiful, and you'll have confidence because you'll get to see a lot of the combinations before you even go out to the store to buy them. So you'll have them with you. You can take them with you, or you can just make a list and know what you're going to be looking for specifically when you go out to the garden center this spring. You've got time. You can, even if you have to look out the window and dream underneath what's underneath that snow, or you can start with a bare garden, or you can improve by adding to. With these two books, it's all possible. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.